And welcome to the In-Game Boss Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy, a.k.a. your in-game boss, a.k.a. your retro activist, a.k.a. your first player in your role.
First party member.
Yeah, first party member of your role-playing game.
It's party member. It's
party
not
member.
player.
Ooh, my apologies. My apologies.
You know how this goes.
Ooh. And, of course, I got to bring in my co-host, the man with the plan, a.k.a. with the pimp hat. Go check out his Facebook picture. Or shout it around. You should spread it around. Anyways, Jaron, what's up, man?
Hey, a.k.a. the grumpiest of bears, a.k.a. the evil Vaku, a.k.a. I really need to play some of these damn games because they're still wrapped. But yeah, it's fun. It's good times.
Okay. And we have a special guest because we have a special episode for you. This is your first time on this particular podcast, actually any podcast you have done ever with me on this show. Mr. Brian Foster from the Role Based Podcast. How you doing, man?
What's up?
You doing good?
Second party member, also the wizard.
Wizard, yes.
Yeah, I'm always a wizard and everything.
Yes, and we actually do a show together called the Role Based Podcast that you can find on YouTube. It is a monthly podcast as we explore the world that is RPG games that we never got a chance to try out. And let me tell you, the first three episodes that are out, I have never tried any of those.
No, not that. I'm talking about we gotta be specific when we talk about RPGs because people seem to think action RPGs.
Oh, my apologies.
Are what we play. We don't play action RPGs. We play the traditional old school JRPGs is what they call now. So we try to stick
with the more turn-based RPGs, hence the name Role Based. Because turn-based got taken.
Because they sit here and Dark Souls is a RPG. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not an RPG to me. It has the RPG qualities, but it ain't an RPG.
Yeah,
at least what we grew up with. Yeah. We're old school, so we when we talk about RPG, we talk straight turn based. I can eat a hamburger while I'm waiting on this guy to hit me. Versus, I'm dead. Well, yeah, because like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, yeah, you gonna be dead if you go eat a hamburger on that one too.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, like turn-based type stuff.
Yeah, so our goal is basically playing RPG games we never got a chance to play on top of maybe revisiting some classic ones, because maybe I have a game that I want to replay, but you have never tried, and vice versa. And so even kind of re-looking at games that were great and trying to take another look at it and see how did it age very well and whatnot. We are now, by the time you listen to this episode, we are on the third episode that's out. That is Paladin Quest. The one that we did before that was Brave Story. And then before that was, of course, our very first one. Brian, you know which one it was? You looking for answers. You're looking for answers, aren't you?
No, the first one we done was that terrible one. I can't think of the name of it, though.
You can't remember?
I can't think of the name of it. Lufia, that's it. Lufia and the Fortress of Doom.
Lufia. Yes. Yes. And
I was a slog to get through.
So also the way it works is we're in a rotation that we go with. Brian goes with a pick, then I go with a pick, then we pick a very terrible game, or say it's terrible, and we go through that and just talk about how bad is it really?
But the terrible one we chose was pretty bad.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. Brian and I have been playing RPG games. I think you actually been playing. I think we talked about. Did you play more RPG games than I did? I believe I was kind of late to the party playing RPG games. I want to say
I've dabbled, but never seriously played. The first serious one I ever played was probably Final Fantasy X. Honestly,
but they're on this list. You never played Earthbound. You never done Skies of Arcadia.
No.
You know what I mean? I never did Final Fantasy 8. I never done.
I did. That was my first one, actually.
So
8.
It's back and forth, and it's just entertainment. The way we do on the show is that we kind of just talk about the lore, we talk about the story, then we talk about the gameplay, then we just talk about our favorite quotes, and we kind of just have fun with it. It's not. I don't know so much we are judging or reviewing it. It's more just.
It's a glimpse, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a discussion because we never beat the games. It's more of how many hours can we put in a month that we have it.
It's like we're trying to give you a small preview to see if you would continue to play it from our perspective. We're not like, oh, we beat the game, so we are the foremost authority on telling you how good or bad it is. We're nowhere near that. Because I mean, there might be a drastic change in story halfway through, and we never got that far.
That, and we do have stuff outside our lives other than that. So sometimes we don't
adults, kiddies, adults. We got things to do.
So what we do is we give it at least a minimum of 5 hours, because we discussed that 5 hours should be more than enough to kind of give you an idea. Are you feeling this game or not? Now, if you go beyond that, that's on you. Yeah. But you have to at least give us 5 hours so you can kind of get your, just give a taste of it. I think the game should tell you something in 5 hours.
Yeah. It's not like Metal Gear Solid 2 where the first 2 hours was played as not even the main character in the game at first.
I'm not a big fan.
It's not that bad. But
I'm not a big fan of games where they tell you like, hey, it gets really good in 5 hours. Like, nah, you should be telling us.
So what am I supposed to do with the first 4?
Yeah, right.
While I'm waiting for 5 hours? Or are you going to be so focused on the 5?
That's your tutorial. You're learning the battle system.
If the battle system takes 4 hours, I ain't trying to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because if I ever put it down because I got something else to do and I come back, I'm going to be completely lost. Speaking of Tales of Berseria, I tried to go back to that and I am so lost.
It is. Some of them are really tough to go back.
The battle system is so crazy. And I played the demo of the new one that's supposed to come out. That was way easy to play.
Oh, Tellurize? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I need to get on that. If they want
to sell copies, they better make it.
It's so much easier. You can grasp it way easier. And then Tales of Berseria, it's like you got to do this in order to do this, and then this leads into this, and then this. It's like if you ever seen a troubleshooting guide, it's like a little deal here, and it's got all these arrows. Does this work? Then go back to this. That's what it's like for the battle system.
It's funny because that's my favorite RPG series,
and it is just. I mean, I like the story and everything. I can't
now,
fight
you saying
things.
Vesperia or are you saying Berseria?
Berseria.
Okay, just making sure.
The one with the girl.
There's a lot of A's.
I played Vesperia, but I took it back because I didn't like that one for some reason.
Zestiria?
Zestiria.
Zestiria is tough. I like the cast, but the gameplay feels very too old, and the graphics kind of have that PS2 feel, in my opinion.
Hey. They all look like PS2 games. All right.
And the sad part about it is because the fact that they have to do it for both consoles. Like, no Tales game has been standalone. Really, it always had to be comfort of working from that one and the last one. So Tales of Berseria and Zestiria is for PS3 and PS4, and that's why it looks more like a PS3 upgraded on the PS4. So, and this is the same thing here. It's PS4 and PS5. Like, I want a dedicated console one,
But they still try to keep the aesthetic, just the cartoonish stuff. So
I like the animated look.
It's fine. Yeah. But like I said, it's not graphically crazy.
But like every RPG
you don't need
game,
to be.
Like every RPG game is you saving the world from some chaos.
Is that not how RPGs are supposed to be?
Some.
Like, why would I want to play it if I ain't saving the world? I'm not finna play it to build a house and that's it. That's the last boss. The last boss is a splinter.
Isn't Persona really just having a normal life and taking care of your town?
Persona 5.
There's still stakes.
Persona 5, it starts with a mystery and you're trying to figure that out.
That's true.
That's what that one is. At least Persona 5 is. I don't know about the rest.
That's true. No, it's just been a fun journey because we record these episodes way ahead of time because due to our schedule, we have to record these ahead of time and then they're posted out every month. So you're going to see us as you listen to the episode. You'll see us slowly learning, and getting better as we go. You just have to be patient with us. But I'll tell you what, though, the favorite conversations you definitely have to stick around is the battle system talk, of course, because that's the meat of the game, right? But that's just fun to talk about the battle system because it's entertaining to hear us explain to you how it works
and how we were trying to explain the Lufia one. So you go into a battle, the game stops, then you show your characters. Now the enemies are grouped, which is something that I hate. Now, if you're fighting, you can fight one jellyfish or two jellyfish. If you're fighting two jellyfish, they're grouped. If you're fighting two jellyfish and a newt, they're grouped. You can either choose to attack both of the jellyfish at the same time or just the newt by itself. If there's two newts, two jellyfishes, you have to attack. You can only choose two different paths to attack. And they don't tell you who you're going to attack out of the two jellyfish. Your sword icon it fluctuates. It goes back and forth. So,
yeah.
Oh, I got tongue twisted and tongue tied a few times.
Our future one, you'll find out in October. But Radiant Historia, that one was a tough one to talk about. And so, but I recommend giving them a listen to on the YouTube one. I managed just to show you gameplay. It's just gameplay, so you kind of get a tour of that, and then later on in our next season, you will see us, and I'm trying to come up with a fun kind of idea how to put that in there for the video content. And so, but I'm enjoying it.
Party member 1, party member 2.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I would love to have Jaron come on one of these episodes in the future.
I'm about to get a wizard hat and a staff.
Oh boy, yeah, that would probably necessitate me finishing one of these RPGs.
You don't have to finish. It's a glimpse.
I've started way too many that I'm in the middle of. Then.
We don't want to talk about backlogs. I
still got to finish Lunar 2.
We don't want to talk about backlogs.
Hey, here's the best part, Jaron. It's not like we're going to go back and play these games that we picked. You know,
I'm not playing Lufia ever again. I'm probably not going to play Bravely, whatever the one we play. No. There's a game we bought, and it's actually on PS4, like the most recent one we played. Yeah. And it's on my PS4, and I'm never playing it again. Or my PS5, but yeah.
Yeah, because one thing too is like we're not going to drop like $60 to see if we're going to like this game or not.
15 and below.
Yeah. We try to stay within the budget, but thank goodness of finding certain things online at a better way.
Or a lot of our games are emulated.
Yeah. So that's a lot easier for us to get that because there's some games that are just hard to find and they're too expensive. And it's just like we're not going to have time for this.
I'm not spending $200-300 on Suikoden 2.
Yeah.
But some people could let you have Xenosaga 3 if they really wanted.
Or maybe PSN should put it on the store.
They should definitely do that, but they're not gonna.
No, I don't know why.
Because the guy in charge of the day-to-day operations don't understand gamers. That's why.
That and Namco, they're very weird about their properties because there was one time. Oh, go ahead.
They should put Lunar in the Lunar.
I want Lunar with you, man. I want Lunar too.
There's a game called Legend of Legaia. They got 2 of them.
You love that game. Well, I don't want to say love is a strong word.
I actually have that one though. On my PS2, but I wish they would upgrade it. But yeah, no.
No, but I recommend people giving a listen. It's a fun show. We are getting better, and at December we will have our rank where we are going to have a discussion and how we're going to rank them. And let me tell you, it's kind of interesting. I after playing certain games later on, it was more like maybe the ones I played before might not be the worst ones. It's just it's just mix and match.
We definitely did that.
Yeah. And so I'm excited for it. Jaron, definitely gonna have you on. My boy Jerome from Buddy Up Gaming. So I'm gonna have to try to get him on there one time. And so because also news is now we are strictly YouTube. I am trying to save money and use my money on the budget for other projects that I want to work on. So we are no longer doing audio. So
you're not even gonna try romance them. It's like, I'm tired of spending money. And
well, no. Let's be honest here. I'll put the honesty on the board. I feel like that the hits are not making up for the price that I'm paying every month. Yeah. It's just not. It's not working there. And if I'm going to not get a lot of hits, I'd rather be somewhere that I'm not have to worry about a fee. Now if I hear demand of we miss your audio up, which hey, leave comments so I know, then that's a different story. But I'm not hearing anything, so this is why we're going this way. And plus, I think video is going to work out better anyways because I think certain games that we talk about, especially role-based, is better visual than hearing about it because at least some people can see the battle system as we're trying to explain it the best way we can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the video of Lufia, the battle system for Lufia, and it's like, oh, man, it's like if you took Lunar and then took all the fun out of it.
Right?
That's like if you took an RPG and took all of the fun out of it. That's how you could describe it, really.
It's a 16-bit RPG, but it looks like the actual battles look like you're watching Phantasy Star from the Master System. Mm-hmm. It's just a square, and then the enemies.
You know what the crazy part of all of this is? You'd be surprised how often certain games use the same battle system without knowing. Like, I would argue that Paladin Quest and Lufia kind of play the same. The only difference is Paladin Quest, you're sacrificing your health to do it. But it's basically the same thing. You miss. So there's funny how certain battle systems do play around. They think like, oh, that's a cool one. That's popular. Let's use that one.
Maybe it's the whole Grand Theft Auto Saints Row type thing. We need a game by tomorrow because Saints Row or Grand Theft Auto did so good. All right, Saints Row. Well, what's going to be? It's going to be basically Grand Theft Auto. All right, get it ready. That's what they did. They just took from them and didn't have to think so hard.
It's true because Phantasy Star, Final Fantasy. I mean, You know, they kind of open that door. They kind of open
they're
the door.
different though.
Well, no, I'm talking about opening the door of using
Dragon
their
Quest.
battle system. Like they copy some of their ideas and put it in there. A lot of people compare a lot of old games to Final Fantasy, like Breath of Fire.
Keep in mind, it was Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. Phantasy Star came in a little late.
Actually, it was Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy.
I was referring to the Japanese name for it.
Just saying. But why we're not Japanese? I'm just saying.
Feel free to put in the comments.
Kudos
to Brian.
No, I'll just mess with you. Yeah.
But no, we are here to talk about our main topic today. We're going to talk about RPGs, of course. That's why I brought Brian on here. This is why Jaron's here. Of course, always. And that's why I'm here. And we're going to talk about RPG games. So we love RPG games. We love the grind. We like the struggle.
Well,
we like...
Whoa.
You love the struggle.
Whoa. You said we like the grind.
You do.
Possibly.
You do.
We possibly like the grind.
You like the grind
it
where you...
depends on what game I'm playing.
But,
I hated the grind on Paladin's Quest. And I hated the grind on Lufia.
But regardless, every RPG has a grind. It just depends what your grind, right? We like the grind.
It depends on if they have.
Leave a comment down below. Brian's disagreeing with me all the time. Yes. Anyways, I'm just kidding.
It's true though.
We love everything that comes with the RPGs, for better, for worse. We can probably agree with that, right? So for better, for worse, we like going in. We like trying to get immersed in an adventure. We like trying to make choices of how we want to deal with the situation in the battle system. We like the characters that come with them, for better, for worse. We just enjoy for what it is, and we just like just sitting there and just, you know, having fun with it. Jaron, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Well, with RPGs, if you have to, every RPG worth of salt, you're going to grind a little bit in some form or fashion. Whether you want the powerful weapons, the ultimate weapons, some of the best items, best treasure, best loot, there's going to be a grind. For me, it's always how fun is that grind. If it feels like I'm pulling my own teeth just to, you know, get a high enough level to progress the story, then no, I'm dropping that RPG. What I tell you months ago, Jeremy, I have nothing left to prove as a gamer.
Oh yeah,
I have played the hardest of the hard, beaten it on the hardest of the hard.
We are all Donald Glover in here, right? We're too old for this shit. I have nothing to prove.
I got nothing to prove anymore. If I want to play a game on story mode, I will, and I'll be happy while I do it. But you know,
y'all might want to speak.
Y'all
might want to speak a little bit. I don't know about all that.
No, I think so. I think when it comes to replaying a game again, I wouldn't mind doing story mode or easy mode because I have nothing to prove. I already went through the hardship. I want to revisit again. I want to have fun with it. It's like beating a game.
I always play on. I'm sorry. I'm just. It's always normal.
I beat Doom Eternal on the above normal. What is it? Not nightmare, but it's like hurt me plenty or whatever. I was like, okay, cool.
Which game?
Any game with nightmare in it.
Yeah, I don't like playing games on hard. I'll play it on normal at the highest now. I don't like playing games on higher difficulties anymore. Because we got stuff to do. We all got stuff to do.
Yeah, but I think it depends on the game though, because some games they actually change some of the enemy's behavior. If you say we're not talking about RPGs here, but we're talking about just games in general, but I know Halo, the original Halo, they actually changed the behavior of enemies on the original Halo when you put it on Legendary.
Okay.
That's fun to me. Now, if they just give the character way more hit points and give you less and they make them hit harder and you hit less, I agree with that. I wouldn't play that.
But in the RPG realm, it is more of they hit harder or they just have a lot more HP when you fight them, right?
But I know there was one RPG I played where this character would not do this certain move unless you put it on hard or something. I don't remember which one it was, but it was just one. But 90% of them is just bullet sponge. All right, well, I got 16,000 more health than I did last time.
Let me put it like this: if I love Final Fantasy VI and that grind fest and all that stuff, if I want to play it again, I'm going to bring it down because I know how long that grind is. I know I could turn that 60 hours to 30 hours.
Yeah, but I wouldn't grind that. That'd be one of those challenges where I beat it at level 1 or something.
But if you love that game, you want to play it again. You have nothing to prove. I cut it down.
Well, yeah. Well, I wouldn't grind so much. I just go straight for it.
There you go.
My RPG.
The OG Final Fantasy VII, I've beaten that numerous times. The last time I played it, it was about 9 years ago. I sat and leveled all my characters up to max level, max stats, and just to see if I could. It wasn't even trying to beat the game. It was just to see if I could.
Oh, I've done that before.
and it's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna turn this off. I have no need to play this anymore.
Yeah, I've done that.
You know,
you retired basically. You retired.
Yeah, it's like
you retired.
I know the story inside and out. I've gotten every item. The only enemy I did not beat was Emerald Weapon because I just didn't feel like sitting through and doing my materia just perfectly to do that. I beat Ruby, whatever. I don't feel like beating Emerald. Mm-hmm. It's like I could. I'm just being the bigger man and walking away.
Yeah. Another example is Tales of Vesperia. So they have on the remastered one that you have an item that can add 10 levels to your characters. So I just did that. I was level 50, and I just went through the game. There was still some challenging stuff on the way there, but at least it was smoother. I beat that game like 20 hours shorter than the normal time the first time I did it. Because let's be honest here, like I like my Tales battle system, but going through each battle like that can be a little tiring, you know. Yeah. And then you got the Final Fantasy games. That's why I like the fast forward fights where the animation goes quicker, and so you can just.
I do love the remastered version.
Turbo mode. Yeah, that's so much easier.
Yeah,
right?
The remastered versions like of 8 and 10 where you can just press and it just fast forwards or auto limit breaks. Like good. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
I did not like the Final Fantasy games where the enemies scaled with your level. So
I hate level scaling.
The more you did the grind, the more powerful they got.
Oh man, we're just gonna leave. Let's just don't invoke the unholy name of level scaling because I could talk about that for like an hour. We're not gonna talk about level scaling. That is the death of most RPGs. Every RPG you want to feel strong, so you start off on this little bitty island. And every enemy on there is, a certain level, and they're kind of tough. And then you come back to that island at the end of the game, and you want to one-shot everybody on that island.
You got your revenge list. Everybody has a list.
Now, you can't do that if it's level scaling because he's going to be the same level as you, and it's going to be the same fight you had 50 hours ago, and that is dumb to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to come back and just slaughter everybody by looking at them. You see what I went through? I fought a guy who can destroy the planet, and I took it. Now I'm coming back to this island, and you stronger than him? Yeah. What kind of crap is this?
Come with me.
Exactly.
Those dung beetles will always be deadly.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. It's a little piss ant or something, and he's just as strong as you are no matter what you... I can't stand level scaling. It ruins games for me.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, but when it comes to RPG games, like I'm on Team Jaron here with the whole like I have nothing to prove. I will knock it down to difficulty just so I can just enjoy for what it is. But I think what's funny about RPG games is the little things that we accepted, but we just never really ask. Like we talked about it on our show. Just some of the little things I'll point out. Like how come this isn't this or this is like this?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? So like for instance, like the inns, like. We get it. Why do they need to be there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go to these inns. Each one is more expensive the further you go into the game. Mm-hmm. And then, like...
it's more gentrified.
It feels like inflation. You remember the inn was like $2 back in the day when you didn't make that much money. But now that you get $5,000 from killing every monster, now all of a sudden inflation happened. Hey, it used to be $10, but now you making $5,000 after each kill. We got to raise the prices.
Going in people's homes and just robbing them.
Oh yeah, they'll never say nothing too. You go talk to them. Hi, well, welcome to my house. Rob them blind. Hi, welcome to my house. You didn't just see. You was watching me rob you. Mm-hmm. Were you still cool? Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You start getting that near in-game teleporter or airship. It's like I'm going back to the inn that's still in the slums. It's a bed. A bed is a bed is a bed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And at the same time, I deserve to rob people's stuff because they don't know later on the run of the game. I'm going to save your life. So give me all your stuff. Run your stuff. I want it.
I think
I'm going to sleep in your bed.
What is it?
Saving the world. I'm sleeping in your bed.
Link, I swear, was like the biggest offender of robbing people blind in front of their faces.
You can rob people, but if you talk to the wrong people, they call the police on you. Isn't that something?
Yeah. I want to say Skyrim and a few of them games actually address that whole stealing people in the house issue, which is pretty funny.
Well, Japanese, they're more like, because they're very open, right? People just go into people's homes.
And then when America started making games, like, buddy. You ain't just finna rob my sandwich. I made that last night.
They pull weapons, dude.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. That's no joke.
Everybody's armed. They don't even look like it. Would be like a maiden washing clothes. You try and take some of her clothes. She pulls a dagger out and chases you.
Please, it could be a child. You run by a child in Skyrim. She's like, hi. You rob from her. She pull out a biggest sword you ever seen. Like, come back here. We're like, you can't even lift that.
Just lead him to the Giants or something.
Yeah. She said, I don't care if I can't lift it. You ain't robbing me again.
I also love the fact that in RPG games that even though you're saving the world, they really always put you on the spot where you have to accept it or you can't move on. I know this is how the game is, right? Like, look, if I'm not going to beat the guy, I have to save the world. But it's just the fact in the moment, like, you need to save the world. You are the chosen one. I'm like, dude, I just woke up.
Yeah, and then they ask you too. They even give you a dialogue box. Be like, will you save the world for us? Yes or no? And it's not even a choice, because if you say no, they say, well, if you don't save the world, then what are we going to do? And then they say it again, and then it says yes or no. Like, why is this even in the game? Yeah, it's not even a choice. The game doesn't start unless I say yes. So stop asking me the stupid question. And then they always put it on your shoulders because your grandfather was this, or because you was next to this guy when he ascended to heaven, or whatever story they come up with. But you got to do it, and I'm gonna be sitting at the end making apple pie or something. I don't know. It's like, how about you go out there and fight? You're older than me, and you're teaching me how to fight.
But you don't have blood.
But you ain't finna come out here and fight with me.
He's got a bad knee.
I got a bad knee.
Yeah, he got shot. He took an arrow to the knee. Yeah. What game did that start in? I don't even remember.
It was Elder Scrolls.
It was one of the Elder Scrolls games.
Was it
Oblivion? The Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah. I think it's probably everyone, even the first one. So, yeah.
I don't know if it was Morrowind or Oblivion. I
thought it was Oblivion. I want to say.
No, I'm sure it was before Oblivion. It says Morrowind, or maybe the second one. I don't know.
I didn't stop hearing the end of it after Skyrim came out.
Be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was talking about it. And then they started using it in some of those little goofy indie games, and they'd say it there and be like, yeah, I used to fight, but I took an arrow. Like, all right, buddy.
And it's funny, too, because, like, compared to the days that we grew up with RPGs to now, that definition of RPG has been changed and moved around a lot. We talked about it from Dark Souls to Borderlands. That name has changed so much in definition.
They changed it to the RPGs that we are used to, and what we think has now been changed to JRPG. Because they think our Japanese RPGs are turn-based and stuff like that, which isn't the case. But now they classify... They open the umbrella on what can be an RPG. Because back in the day, all JRPGs was just it. But now, they call Dark Souls an RPG. Any game where you can go from level 1 to level 50 or anything is an RPG. Like the Marvel games considered an RPG. You couldn't tell if I was just playing it and you didn't know what it was. You look at it and be like, oh, that's an action game or something. It's an RPG, actually.
I think also, and Jaron, you probably agree with this, is definitely, we talked about in our role-based podcast too, as on the old RPG games, you had to be at a certain level to unlock a certain ability about yourself. Compared to now, you get more of a choice by points. You decide what kind of hero you want to be or what kind of character you want to be.
You do and you don't. I mean, okay, so
like
let's go back to the X-Men Legends and the Marvel Ultimate Alliance. You get X number of points, skill points. You can unlock this, or you can unlock this, or you can make this more powerful. So you kind of get a choice, but you don't really. Like, I would love it if it was like, you know what? Cyclops only knows one type of optic blast, but it's a really strong one.
So, okay, I'll give you that. I feel like X-Men is more like you have to invest points to get something out of it, right? Compared to later on Borderlands, you get to choose either this or this, right?
Yeah.
And then the old one was more like, you're a certain level, we might give you this.
It's just the old RPGs, you didn't get a choice in what you got. It was just, as soon as you get level 5, you get fire spell 2. That's it.
Yeah.
There was no fire.
You
can invest in fire. You can invest in this. See, what they do is they give you like you said, it's a choice, but it's not. So it's like the illusion of choice, which as long as you get at the humans, we're good. You cannot tell us this. Like the new generation of people we got nowadays always want some kind of choice. If they just got one thing, they probably wouldn't like the game as much. So they give you the choice. And then that's when we started getting into builds. That's what they call it now. You can spec all your points into this, and now you got a a rock mage versus electric mage versus a fire mage or something like that.
Kind of a class system, kind of like some of the old Final Fantasy games. They had the class system, right?
It's more like Final Fantasy 5 or 10. Final Fantasy 10 is the only Final Fantasy where every character can do everything.
Yeah, but you have to break
to break the grid, yes. But still, that's what I'm saying. All of these games are trying to do that.
But Final Fantasy, I think the class one is a little different because you got to at least choose what class you get, or at least find the class you want, and then invest in that time, right?
Yeah, the job system.
That's what I'm talking about. The job system.
The job system kind of let people. You could have, hell, even in the original Final Fantasy, you could have everybody be one class, all warriors, all white mages. But if you're talking about everybody knowing everything, I think they started doing that in 5. They did that in 5, and then they returned to that in to a degree in 9, where you can equip different equipment and get different skills and learn it. And
then 10 took it to the nth degree because
I guess
the sphere
10,
grid.
10 will be the first one that actually did a grid like that, right?
Yeah,
the first one did a grid, right?
It did a grid, but
and then 12 did the license board, which was kind of like the grid.
Yeah,
but it lets you do everything. Like you know Lulu. You look at Lulu and you know she's a black mage, but you get to the end of the game, you can have Lulu smacking people like Titus is.
I almost want to bring my girl Brandy in here because she basically took Final Fantasy X, the remastered, and broke the sphere grid. Like she had everybody learn everything. She turned Yuna into a more powerful black mage than Lulu.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah. And
my very first game, I did that because Yuna's ultimate weapon is way easier to get. Lulu, you have to dodge lightning 200 times. That's ridiculous. I'm not doing that. I haven't even done it in the new one. But I
thought it was 100 times.
No, 200.
It's too much regardless.
200. It's too ridiculous. And you gotta count it yourself. Like there's nothing that's counting it for you. You have to do it. And if you leave the area and go check, because you can check and see how much you did. If you leave the area, it resets.
Yeah, and the fact that the timing is still a little wonky as well.
It is very much.
I think one of the issues that 10 does and some other games did back in the day was when you have too many characters, and 10 did a bad job to me of certain characters become more powerful even if that person is supposed to be the best, and that, like Lulu's supposed to be the best, right? But Yuna can outdo her once Lulu learns everything that Lulu learns, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of hurts a little bit.
The only thing that makes the characters unique in this game is their overdrives or limit breaks, whatever you want to call them. That is the only thing that separates them because, like I said, at the end of the game, you can have everybody do everything.
Yeah, but I remember like back in the day, there was certain characters that are like, no, this is the perfect team right here. I never felt like, I never like play Final Fantasy VII. Like, who fits really well together? Cloud, Red 13, and Cat Sith. I think I could beat the game with those three.
You could.
You could, but I'm saying, like, that's not... I don't think a lot of people think that, because, one, none of them heal. You got it. People always say, like, I need a healer on my team. That's, like, the number one thing you want.
Exactly.
But that was the materia. You just gave them the materia, and there you go.
In Final Fantasy, see, this is how I'm
Final Fantasy. I only know this because I've been playing a remake. But
the job system was basically encased in the materia. Anybody could do anything.
Okay. So besides Final Fantasy VII, there is certain games where people are locked. Like, she's the only hero on your team. No one else. So some characters are just useless. Like, I can't take you. Like, plus, you came late in the game. I'm already powerful with this group.
Like Final Fantasy X is the one of the, I can't really think of too many others that had it to where every character can do everything.
12 can do it too, but 10 is the one that kind of started it.
Because, like you said, like even look at the Battle Chasers game we had. All them characters can't do all that. No. There's only a couple. The main guy cannot heal at all, except for with potions.
And that's the same thing with our first video with Lufia. Lufia herself is the only one that can really heal.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else has to use items.
But in Final Fantasy X, I had Titus using Curaga better than my main white mage. What kind of crap is that?
And that's the thing too. And Jaron, you probably agree with this, but at least some party members learn at least a bit of magic. You don't have to be the best. Like someone can learn Cure, but this person can learn Curaga, whatever the next level is. But as long as this person learns Cure, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the trick. Final Fantasy X, you had choices. You could make your team however you want. Although almost nobody ever chose Kimari. people hated Kimari.
Poor Kimari.
Yep.
Poor Kimari. Yeah. I thought it was just me. I guess it ain't just me.
No.
Kimari sit on the sidelines.
He was a blue mage.
Coolest guy in the party.
He was a blue mage.
Yeah.
But none of his moves were really that good. Nova was good when you first got it before you broke the damage limit. And then after that, Ultima and everything else just easily destroyed that. And you didn't have to wait for the limit break. So it's like, why do I need it?
Some of these characters just they come late in the game, they become useless because sometimes some characters don't get that level scale to meet up with your party. Some of them, they're just stuck on the level they're at.
One weird dynamic, though, it does have is 3 characters can swim in Final Fantasy X.
Yes.
And
I don't like that.
That's Riku, Waka, and Titus. Now, this screwed me up because I hated Waka, and Riku was in. So, when I was trying to do one of my leveling, I had to fight a water monster. And Titus was way overpowered. Mm-hmm. Water monster never killed him, but he'd look at Waka and he's dead.
Yeah.
Because I hated Blitzball. Oh my goodness, I hate Blitzball.
I'm not a big fan of that because the fact that they're forcing you to maintain this company. That means you have to make sure everybody is at the same level because you never know what's going to happen next.
Well, that's why they let you switch in and out party members in the middle of the battle.
In 10,
Not
right.
only that, they let you switch. No. 10, this is the one thing that I really liked about 10 versus another games. And it's kind of not even a big issue most of the times. Like, if you play RPGs and you went and fought this boss beat you down. So you go and you put on this weapon gives me more XP, and this armor gives me more enemies. So you put that on, and then you go to fight the enemy, and you forgot to put on your good stuff that hits harder, and you get beat up. And Final Fantasy X, even if you go in the game with your stuff, you can switch it. You can switch weapons and armor and people. You cannot go into battle wrong. And more than often than not, if you switch the weapon, you will still get your turn back before the enemy attacks.
Yeah, and I think that,
so. You cannot even go wrong at all. You can go into battle however you want to and fix it before the enemy attacks.
What were you gonna say, Jaron?
No, that was pretty much that.
Yeah,
the one theme is jobs. Everybody still had a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the funny part about it is, besides 10, even games after 10, that's not a Final Fantasy, still haven't. They don't adapt that. Some RPGs just stay traditional still.
I think they should because it's following the story and everything. It gives them more.
Are you saying they should go back the way it was, or stay with the 10 idea?
They should. I think they should go closer to the X-Men. Give you 2 choices, maybe, instead of just giving you water. Because maybe you got to fight a water enemy or something.
Okay.
Or a fire enemy.
We will get into that conversation because we have topics we're talking about. But just as characters alone, I think in general, besides 10 and maybe other future games behind that, is most RPG games back in the day, you really had to pick and choose who was really important to you based on the formula that you wanted. And some characters just axe out.
Yeah.
And there's no character development for those characters either.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that was really tough about the old RPG games. There was not a lot of character development. It was more of like, you had to almost put your own imagination what you think that character would be like.
True.
And that was tough compared to like Lufia and Paladin quests and everything. Like, they tell you, here's the world, but we're not really going to study these characters really that much. Here's a little description about them, but there's not really text.
They were just a cardboard cutout pretty much in your party. Mm-hmm. What's his name? Yeah. Cardboard cutout number 2? I mean, that's it. There's there's nothing. You
project yourself or you project what you want onto them.
Yeah, and that's why they try to give you these characters that are very you, meaning that you don't get dialogue. You're just giving choices, say yes or no, and go with it. And that's why we had a discussion that I prefer them just to go for it and give this character some personality than just be a no-name person where you just say yes or no.
So we can use the Grand Theft Auto for that. Grand Theft Auto 3, you God didn't say anything. So it's like you put yourself in his shoes, but then starting with Vice City and on, they had a personality. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that you like it when they're more like Tommy Vercetti, who had a personality, versus no-name dude in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah,
because those were more memorable games. Vice City and San Andreas were more memorable.
True.
Yeah, but I guess it's because at least the character, at least like even if I disagree with his choice or what he wants to do in the game, at least he has a personality I can agree with. Me here, I feel like I never have a say as a no-name. I just feel like, hey, we're going to go here. Someone's always going to direct you or say, you don't talk much, do you? Or, hey, you want this and this. Like, they speak for you, mainly for the game, and I feel like I don't have really a say in the matter.
Okay, so what about Titus?
Well, Titus has a personality.
He's my least favorite character, though. What about that? Like, what if the personality of your main character does not resonate with who's the player? Like, Titus was my least favorite character.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying for me. But I take a chance with Titus, even if I don't end up liking him. That's fine. But if him being quiet the whole time, why you hear Waka talk all the time, you hear Lulu talking all the time.
No.
Yeah.
No, Waka.
With less, if your no-namer doesn't talk, everybody has to talk more to get the vibe. So I'll take Titus talking.
They have to speak for you. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's annoying. Oh, you want me to go to the store over there on the right? We're like, okay, he could have just said that and not have you say it and sound all awkward. But I mean, they do that.
Yeah, that's just me personally.
I agree with the having a personality versus silent type, because it doesn't work. But I think, like I said, they are trying to look at the wider audience, and they're like, how many people is it going to piss off that he's this way versus how many people
True.
it isn't?
It's a hit and miss.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd rather take a chance. That's just me.
Throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what happens.
Yeah,
so.
that's why, like...
But it seems like your ideas work, because a lot of games have people with personalities.
But there is some that people, preferred them silence because they're afraid of what their imagination of that person is. I call it the Zelda phobia edition. It's where people, if they find out Link can talk, people are going to lose their minds because they interpret in their head how they think Link should be talking. Mm-hmm. And the moment they give him a voice, the world is going to get upset.
They're going to hate him. Link's a pedophile or something. Oh,
shut up. No, but it's just what it is. I want Link to talk. I want them to take a chance and give it. But they know that it probably could hurt the sales, it could hurt the reputation, whatever. That's why Mario only gets a here we go and all this, because Mario does not do well.
And then you watch him in like the Superstar Saga, and he just speaks gibberish.
Yeah. So.
It's like, what? But it's funny.
But you hear
and he says babies.
Yeah, but Link will talk when he hurt. Or swinging something, but that's the only time you hear him. You never.
That's grunting.
But you get a voice.
Stepping on some lava and being quiet.
That's true.
I know. He'd be like, Or he puts a bubble saying grunts or something.
But that's just my opinion. What about you two, though? Do you guys prefer the silent person?
I actually don't.
Okay.
I don't prefer the silent time, but instead of Link, in Link's case, no, he needs to stay silent.
Okay.
That's the aesthetic of the game. Keep him silent.
He has the Zelda phobia.
From the end of time. I do not. I still haven't beat Breath of the Wild. I played 3 days ago. I played it for about 15 minutes, got bored with it.
Got it.
But I think he should stay silent because he always has been, and that's part of the game. But I agree mostly with they should have a personality. But that depends on the writer too. I mean, if the writer can't write, you might start hating them. So
yeah, like I said, I rather them take the risk. What about you, Jaron?
Oh goodness, it really depends. For me, it's one of those. If the character has a personality and the personality fits in with the way that game is set up, then I'm all for them having a person. Now, let's not confuse a personality with a voice. So. A character with a personality, let's say, going back to Final Fantasy, let's say Zidane from 9, or Ash, or I'm sorry, Vaughn from 12.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
We don't
personality counts for a lot.
It's actually, the game stars Balthier, and that's all you need to know.
We don't speak about Vaughn. We don't invoke that unholy name. But yeah.
He's like a gay Titus.
But
he looks like one.
I will say the silent protagonist also works. Characters like Alex from the first Lunar. Those kind of characters that are silent, but everybody projects what they're probably saying. That works because you know what? You don't need to know about that character. The quest is the point.
The journey, not the destiny. Yeah, I can understand that too.
That's good.
So it really just depends. If the game's more character driven, then yeah, they got to have personality. But if it's more like adventure and story driven, then I don't need the main character to have that much personality.
Okay, I can give you that.
He thought about this way harder than I did, but yeah, that's good.
You're the one that said you're going to freestyle it.
Hey, whatever.
Okay, so let's get into some category questions. We're here to talk about what type of RPGs that we think ourselves like, right? We're going to talk about the setting. We're going to talk about characters. We're going to talk about the battle system. Because, sure, we like multiple different kind of RPGs, but I wonder if we know our type. Like, if we saw this and they knock out all the boxes, like, that's my jam. If they do that setting, that battle system, that style, I'm in. So, the first question I asked is, what's your favorite setting for an RPG game? Note, I know some of these games bleed into other categories, but I'm looking at main features. So example, fantasy. If you're more of a fantasy fan like Final Fantasy, Fable, Elder Scrolls, Dragon Quest, Dragon Age, Witcher, if you want to count that, Divinity, Tales series, Paper Mario, Fire Emblem. Are you a steampunk fan? Final Fantasy VI, Torchlight, Skies Arcadia, Residents of Fate. Or contemporary. That's the one you correct. What did I put there?
Modern.
Thank you. Okay.
Same different.
It just sounds fancier.
Semantics.
We're fancy people, damn it.
Semantics.
Earthbound, Persona, Parasite Eve.
Oh.
Okay.
Love that game.
Future, Phantasy Star, Mass Effect, Star Ocean, Xenosaga series, Cyberpunk, Dystopian, Fallout series, Deus Ex, Final Fantasy VII, or any other Dark Souls, etc.
Dark Souls ain't the future?
No, I mean, or others like Dark Souls.
Okay, yeah.
If none of these fit the list that you wanting, then you can give me another like horror. You like horror RPGs. You like this RPG. I only did these because these are the most common ones that we see most of it. So Jaron, let's go to you first. What settings do you feel a lot of? What's your setting?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to say steampunk or future because I play some really good games there, but it really just comes down to fantasy. That's what I was first introduced to with RPGs. That's even when I watch freaking anime sword and sorcery anime shows or sword and sorcery movies like Conan. I go with the fantasy.
Okay.
The fantasy, anything can happen. You know, you make up a set of rules and you can go wild with it. I mean, I told you, Lunar was the first RPG I ever beat. Mm-hmm. That was fantasy. That was complete fantasy. You know, that's always going to be my bread and butter.
I know I didn't put this on the list, but you know, Chrono Trigger could be up there. You know.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's like fantasy, steampunk, and contemporary.
That checks way too many boxes.
That's
what I'm saying. I said these games could bleed into others, but I'm talking about what's the main thing. Yeah. I think it's more fantasy.
Well, yeah, because it starts off in 1000 AD.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just main fantasy. That's all. Yeah. So, so other than Lunar, what other fantasies that games that also shouts out at you? It could be people on this list or a game I didn't mention. There's so many fantasy games. I couldn't put it all on here.
You mentioned Chrono Trigger. That's one of the ones that I beat over the course of 3 months. I beat like 3 or 4 times. So I'll always have a special place for that.
Okay.
Fire Emblem, of course. I love me some Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually one that's not on there. I will say I did enjoy. What's it called? It was one of the few Xbox 360 RPGs that came out. Not Infinite Undiscovery.
Good.
Lost Odyssey.
Yes, Lost Odyssey.
Miss Walker. Yeah.
Yes. It didn't get the love that I think it should have. You know, you're an immortal, and you find other immortals by chance. It was like Highlander mixed with RPG fantasy.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, how was that not successible? Come on.
I think
Fantasy Highlander.
I think honestly, fantasy is a lot of people's first time in RPGs. To be honest with you, fantasy.
It's the easiest to write.
It is the easiest, and it's also the most popular. I mean, that's why there's so many more out there.
When RPGs, there was a point when every RPG that they even had out on anything was fantasy only. I mean,
because everybody loves magic.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to use
magic. We like
magic.
things that we can't actually do in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Brian, what?
See, this is kind of a mix up because I guess my main one would be fantasy because like he says, it's what everybody grew up on. But as far as story, a lot of times I like the future ones because they tell you like how the world became the way it was. So it's interesting to see what kind of ideas they have about how we go from what we are now to, the future. Mm-hmm. And I like games like that. Now, this is not technically an RPG, but they would call it one because you level up. But Horizon Zero Dawn, the first time I seen that game, I thought it was a game about the past because she was hunting these dinosaur-looking things, but they were machines. Uh-huh. And you come to find out it's not a past game. It's a future game because when everything went bad was like right now. And then they lose sight of everything that happened, and then they revert back to kind of, prehistoric times, even though it's the future. And some of the games, they would talk about how the world used to be and how it is now and all that stuff from some of the games like Xenosaga. And those, I think I like the story more on future RPGs. But as far as just overall, I think it's fantasy for me.
Okay. All right. Weirdly enough, for me, I figured this out through Skies of Arcadia, BioShock Infinite, to Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
That doesn't count.
Shut up. I personally am a fan of stuff in the sky for some reason. I like the world in the sky. Just like the fact of like what happened to the world below. Like why does everybody live up in the skies and everything? So I was stuck between steampunk and future, because I just love the journey of the skies. I love the fact that there's these huge civilizations that are on, for instance, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where you're living on these giant beings that are just walking around and they're up in the sky. Like what happened to the ground? It's so weird to me.
What about the first one? What was the story on that? Because I liked that world that they were in.
Well, you have Xenoblade Chronicles, then Chronicle X, and then 2.
I don't know. They were on like something. I don't know.
Did they crash on the planet? Had to make civilization on. They had to make civilization on there.
I think so.
On Wii U, it's the X. So
okay,
it's
right.
Yeah, it's X. And that's the one where you control mechs too. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yes.
Yeah, that's X.
Okay, so
yeah. That one's a little bit different.
That's fantasy slash
future.
Future?
That's straight sci-fi.
Okay.
That's straight sci-fi because that's a spinoff on its own. That's actually more in our world, as the other ones are more of the fantasy. That's why like they give it an X and you have 1 and 2. But it's funny because all the Xenos connect together in some shape or form, right? From the Xenosaga to the Chronicles, they all connect. I like the futuristic because I agree with you. I love how we got to this time and all the technology and everything like that. Yeah. And I'm a sucker for the laser guns and all the cyber guns, the swords. The magic's changed into another term for magic. They call it like something else. Whatever they want to call it. Because, Fifth Element is my favorite sci-fi movie of all time. Okay? And I love that world. And I love the urban city and all that stuff. I love the space travel.
It feels steampunk in that, though.
I'm talking about futuristic.
I know, but it feels steampunk a little bit in Fifth Element.
Yeah.
I freaking love that movie, too.
Yeah.
I know, I agree. Fifth Element is it's up there, one of my favorite movies.
It's definitely top
Luc
10.
Besson. And here's the thing. You want a disappointment, you want a heartbreak, try and watch Valerian.
I know. I have it. I have it only for the visuals because the visuals are awesome. Stories, bleh.
No.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't even need to see
that. It's bleh. The story is feeling like it's only giving you a slice of a bigger. There's a bigger cake somewhere.
Yeah,
it's only giving you a slice. And
and it sucks it didn't do very well to get a sequel, regardless. But the visuals still freaking top notch. I like the cinematography and the visuals.
Have y'all seen Jupiter Ascending?
Yeah, we're not talking about that. We're gonna get back into the future here.
No, we were talking about terrible movies.
We're not talking about terrible movies.
Yeah, we were.
No,
you said Valerian.
He was just giving another example because it's the same director. So.
Yeah, well, that one's futuristic too, but it's just.
But I like the fact in some future games where you can have add-ons to your stuff, and that helps with the technology of your powers.
Oh, you sound like Deus Ex now.
Yeah, I like. I love Deus Ex, but that's dystopian.
Yeah.
And I like future more, and I like dystopian.
Or even Cyberpunk.
You sound like Shadowrun. Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, basically augmented stuff. Right.
Somebody else played that game besides me? Oh, crap.
I think Shadowrun's more dystopian, wouldn't you say?
It depends.
Yeah.
They are in the future. It's only dystopian because a disaster happened, but it's still society's functioning normally.
Okay.
It just now has all this other stuff in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love space guns. I love those fictional like laser guns and weapons and made up bulk. It's like magic. Because magic, you can just make up anything you want. And just like future, you can make stuff up in the future. Because, like, who can you say what happens in the future? You can make up anything you want.
Well, yeah. They thought we thought Skynet was going to take over 97. That ain't happened. We thought we'd have hoverboards in 2015.
Thought we'd have flying cars.
They thought we'd have flying cars in like 2009.
I was a sucker for the Jetsons. I really wanted to be in that world. And this is the closest I wanted to get for
that.
The
Jetsons is 2061, so we'll see what happens. But
yeah, all the buildings just go upwards. Once again, all skies. I'm telling you. I'm a sucker for skies.
You need to go skydiving a few times and you get out of that.
No, I think the Sky World is it's a pretty cool world.
That's why you like Infinite.
Yeah, everything because it's impressive. Like, how the hell can you make a world but not in the sky? That's just crazy.
Wasn't there a movie about a whole city that would move?
You're talking about Mortal Engine. I never saw that movie.
I never saw it either.
Yeah, but it's on wheels and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar.
There is that.
Kind of, but it's still ground. Yeah, I know. It's still like a moving
There's
city.
also Elysium.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, the funny part is, like, I think we all here like some of the categories here of it. I mean, dystopian. I mean, I like Fallout, and I like Deus Ex. I like the fact that you're showing an alternate world of what happens if the world doesn't go your way, and you're just living in the poor crime area, and you have to augment yourself.
And this is a future game. Like, the Fallout is in the future, but the future never went past like the 50s.
Yeah, it's what if they lost the Cold War?
I like that. I like the story of that a lot.
Yeah. I like that a lot too, and I like the fact that, like, you get to see different parts of the United States. You know, you get to see what happens in New Vegas. You got to see what happens in Virginia. You got to see what happens in all these other places. If they did one for Oklahoma, it's going to be very boring of a game. Now, anyways, but I also like. Now, I think Jaron, you and me are probably, or at least Jerome and I, we like the modern stuff. I like Persona. I like Undertales. I like those kind of, like.
I like Persona. I'm wrong with that.
Yep. I like. Oh, okay. I didn't know you like Persona or not. Like,
the fifth
jury's
one.
still out on that for me. I still have to actually get started.
What's another modern one you can think of? I'm trying to.
Oh,
I can't really think.
Earthbound, Parasite Eve.
Parasite Eve.
That's a modern.
Freaking love that game.
Yeah.
And then they ruined the second one and really ruined the third one, but.
Yeah, but I do like the modern thing where you're just a normal person and then this world's come into a chaos and you have to deal with what's given to you, how you deal with it. I mean, the story of Earthbound is about a bee from the future telling you that in this time, aliens are going to take over. You got to stop it. And it's like, what the hell is a talking bee? And, by the way, spoiler, he dies in the first 5 minutes of the game. Anyways.
Well, hey, you can't deny that bee's not telling the truth. Because bees don't talk in our time.
That's true. Just for people, saying. You better be careful. Anyways.
Or get stung by the truth. But anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so.
Dad joke.
So you two are basically fantasy. You're fantasy and future. Mm-hmm. So you like both sides. You are fantasy and future also?
Fantasy topmost. Everything else is a tied second.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Now we got to talk about the one that you got to go on a voyage with, and that is your favorite type of main character. That person you're going to have to judge with. You got to hang out with him for a while. So you better hope you like him, hopefully, if he's your type. So let's see. What type of character do you like? Do you like the cocky ones, like Yuri from Tales of Vesperia, Voss, Titus?
Titus isn't cocky. He's just
Titus is cocky.
He's cocky.
He's cocky.
I wouldn't say he's cocky.
Stop right there, goers. You guys are smiling now, but not for long. Because this year,
Dude, Blitzball, he is freaking cocky.
Okay, yeah. In Blitzball, but that's it.
Dude, that's the Zedark and Abe's.
Yeah, he always talking shit.
That's Blitzball. I hate Blitzball, so I never played it.
No, all but he talked about it through the whole thing.
He did.
On the way to Blitzball, he was talking about, I'm
but when it came to fighting sin and stuff, he didn't talk about it so much.
Him laughing, him forcing that laugh.
We don't speak about that scene.
You can't get past it without seeing it.
You cannot. It's so bad that there are about 30 YouTube videos of that scene. That's how bad it is.
Of course, I'll put it on this one too, so we have 31.
Yeah, you splice it in right after this.
Yep.
Just splice it right in.
Put a still of him laughing.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
Do you like the silent one? The ones that we talk about, really the ones that like don't really talk. So you got like Nez, Chrono, or most customized characters.
Oh, this is a deep philosophical question.
Soldier, like Shepard from Mass Effect.
or Cloud.
I'm gonna twist that on you because you also get the loner. Cloud is a loner,
and he's a soldier.
You can pick both if you want to, or the guy from Witcher. I can't pronounce his name.
The guy from Witcher?
Yeah, Geralt de Rivia.
Geralt.
Geralt. See, I told you I couldn't say it right, so I gave you a warning. Or Goofy, like Sora, Mario. You know, they're goofy characters. So let's go with you this time, Brian. What kind of character do you enjoy most in most RPGs?
Oh, that's a deep philosophical question. I don't know. I like the self-assured but not overly cocky, I guess.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I also said other.
Unfortunately, do not have an example of that.
Yeah, I said other. So if there's another one you prefer, pick another one. I don't care.
I do not really have an example because, I mean, I thought Titus was kind of like that. But, yes, he is cocky in Blitzball, but I didn't even play it.
I also put him down for goofy if you want to throw him in a goofy category.
He's very goofy.
So you can put him
way too optimistic for what's going on.
Okay, then put him as goofy a character. I don't care.
Of course, if you know who he is and what he is and the ending, then you kind of get it. But I can't really think of an example, but he's confident, but not to the point of being cocky and annoying.
Okay.
And I'm really just trying to think of...
You want us to come back around on you?
I'm trying to think of a character. But, I mean, that's my...
But you said cocky? You pick cocky, though?
No, not cocky. Like, self-assured, but not cocky. Like, that dude beat me down and I need to fix it versus
soldiers.
He tricked me.
Sounds like you're a soldier.
Ish.
Most of it, I think, is soldier. You know.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
I mean, you were a soldier, so
we can say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Me. I like cocky. I like characters that get cocky, but also try to learn from their mistakes. You know, they go in strong and they're like, "Ooh, I shouldn't have done that," and then they fix the problem and they move on. I do prefer cockiness because if people don't know, Skies of Arcadia is my favorite RPG game, and I like Voz because he's the captain of the pirates. He's passionate for his team, but also he gets a little bit over his head. But he knows that there's stuff more important than himself. I don't like too cocky characters where they don't learn from their lesson. They're like, everything will be okay if I just keep being myself like that. You know?
You should have did that in Mickey Mouse boy.
Right? So, boy. And right? But Silence, like I said, Silence is kind of boring. I mean, it's you, but you really don't have control of your, what you have. Loners is okay, but sometimes it feels like it gets a little tiresome because you have all the kids trying too hard, like, cheer up, everything's going to be okay. And it's like, no.
Well, you got too many loners. I mean, Squall from Final Fantasy VIII was kind of a loner. He didn't talk to anybody for a while. I mean, nobody talked in the game because it was silent, but he didn't talk to anybody, and it took a while to break him out of his shell. Really.
Yeah, it kind of got it.
I get you. They overdo that one.
And then then they make the other characters work even harder, and they get kind of annoying.
Hell, like even what's his name? Cloud from the 7 is kind of like that. He talks, but it's all robotic, and you got to force it out of him. He just sits there brooding.
He has a good reason though. He got experimented on.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's always brooding and edgelord status and all that. So,
but I do like goofy characters. I like Sora and Mario because I like how some is cringy. Goofiness can be very cringy. We've seen this before with the Titus laugh and Sora. You gotta smile.
The Sora smile. You need to put that up right here.
But yeah, but I think some of that stuff is cringy, but I do like the goofiness because I think it helps set the tone of the game being goofy. Like Mario RPG games, it's funny. Because Mario's goofy, and his funny part is Mario doesn't have to be goofy. Mario just goofy on his own because everybody makes Mario goofy regardless, right?
That started with 64, but 64.
Yeah,
he started talking. That's when he really just started getting goofy because the way he said, "Here we go," everybody's like, "Well, I know what kind of game this is."
Yeah. So,
because I mean, I'm pretty sure people didn't think he was goofy back in Mario 1 and 3. They thought that was pretty serious. But here we go, and and he started crying when he died. Oh, no, that's not. They knew what kind of game this was.
Yeah,
and then from there on, he's been pretty goofy.
Right, Jaron, what's your character? What's your type?
Well, I kind of like the silent type that I can project a little bit on, but I'm gonna have to go with. I mean, did we really classify Shepard as just the soldier type? Because the reason I'm kind of leaning towards Shepard is because, or characters like that, is because I can inject my own voice into what they're doing, like BioWare games in general. BioWare games.
Like Shepard's not quiet though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I like characters like Shepard, like in the BioWare games where they're quiet, or they're not necessarily quiet, but they don't have a preset personality. You get to determine their personality.
Oh, okay.
I give you that, but he still acts soldier-like, no matter if you were good or bad, or you go evil or good. He's still a soldier-like.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'm going to modify that, not necessarily Shepard, but the BioWare protagonist type. So, take characters from KOTOR, Jade Empire, Dragon Age. You know, you can put your own personality.
They say something, and then they give you like 3 choices: the aggressive one, and the passive aggressive one.
Yeah, we have seen that in later ones too. Definitely. Yeah. I'll give you that. I do like choices, especially punching out the reporter. One of my favorite moments.
But even still, well, you got to have a certain renegade or paragon level for that. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Okay. I lost my train of thought, but
it's always renegade with me. Doesn't mean I do bad. I'll put it this. I read a quote that sums up being a renegade Mass Effect. Yeah, I'm an asshole, but you didn't say I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I mean, not wrong.
It's like, I'm an asshole. I see everybody calling me an asshole, but nobody's saying I'm wrong.
You're a hard ass. That's the sugarcoat of it. Like, you're a hard ass.
These are facts.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
All right, so we'll go on to the most important meat. Favorite battle system setup. So, man, you guys figure it out. This is going to be a tough one because there's a lot of different ones. And you can pick other ones too. I only picked some main ones that kind of stood out to me. Okay, so of course you have the turn-based, like most Final Fantasies. Skies Arcadia, Paper Mario, Persona. You got active turn-based, like Final Fantasy games, Chrono Trigger. Cancel-based combat, like the Grandia series. Okay. You also got the action-based. That's your hack and slash kind of games like Kingdom Hearts, Ys series, Secret of Mana, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Mass Effect, and then of course like dungeon crawlers. You know,
you also got strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you position your
strategy,
a certain way.
Strategy, tactical. Yeah,
so like Fire Emblem games.
Or XCOM. Yeah. And so, I guess I'll go first since I haven't gone first yet on the rotation. I have a couple here. I like turn-based. Now, here's the funny part about turn-based, because you have turn-based, but what are you doing different in your turn-based, right? That's the difference, right? I like Skies Arcadia's turn-based because even though you're still taking turns, you all are sharing a bar. So let's say, for example, did we lose him?
No, that was me.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
I was restarting the camera.
Oh, okay, cool. I like where it's kind of like you're sharing a pool of points. So let's say you got like 50 points. So between the 4 of you, based on the move selection you pick, your goal is to use as much as you can to fill up that pool. If you don't use it, then that adds more to it. So you could probably save your round to Finn while that pool builds up, and then you all can do special moves. Each one takes about maybe 5 points. One could take 10, 20. So you you spin this pool, and I like that a lot. Say what?
Like Chrono Cross and Bravely Default.
Yes, except it's individual. Here it's a group pool, regardless.
That's what I'm thinking, because I was thinking of Xenosaga 1, because you get 4 points, but if you guard, you lose 2, but then the next time you get 6.
Yeah. Individually, that's correct. But this is a group pool. The whole group shares 50 points.
That's what I was.
You share it among each other how you want to go out on it.
And I'm trying to think of any games like that, and I can't.
And I really like that. And the fact for the imagination at the time, I like the fact that these characters are not just sitting in one place waiting for the turn. They're moving around, and even though they're pretending they're fighting, and nothing's going on, I like the fact they're like, hey, at least they're pretending they're fighting no matter what. So they're blocking, slashing, all this stuff. I like that regardless.
What game was that we first seen? I want to say it was one of those gun games. And the battle was starting, everybody just started running all over the place.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
Wild
game
Arms?
it was. It might have been Wild Arms.
Maybe Wild Arms.
But
that sounds familiar, yeah.
But it would the battle would start. Everybody be standing, and the second it says like battle, everybody would start running in circles and stuff because they wouldn't sit still.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like Final Fantasy, Cloud just holds his sword there and they're just standing there.
Yeah,
and you really think that a battle would go like that? I mean, it's fantasy. We're simulating.
Yeah, but at
you
least
like it where it looks realistic.
Yeah, just moving around. Like I said, they don't have to be doing anything fancy. It's just more of like at least it looks like a fight going on in the background while I'm choosing moves and stuff like that.
Have you seen the battle system for the Yakuza Like a Dragon?
Not yet.
You haven't seen that battle system?
No, I haven't got that. I haven't got to
look it up.
Okay,
it kind of fits what you're
funny
saying.
story because they're both made by Sega. So
yeah,
you kind of borrow from each other, right?
They're kind of looking at the other person. They're not really doing nothing, but they're moving about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you might.
And I really like the idea of like you could save up and everybody can do a super move if they have enough points for it. And of course, my favorite in most RPG games, some RPGs don't do it, but I like counters. I like when you get a surprise counter, like one character hits and he just turns around and just slash him. I love that. It's more of like a surprise. Like, oh, cool, I got like an extra bonus. Even though that enemy strikes this character, he can come back and hit him back. I like that. And then the other thing I like about it is that this is a game where everybody can learn all the magic. It just depends who you prefer wants to learn the magic. So, like, I like about it is you get these weapons, but depending what color your weapon is, that's the one you'll be leveling up. So let's say that green is health, red is fire, and blue is electricity. So if I have one weapon that is blue, that means anytime I attack with a blue sword that I color, and you can color on the fly anytime you want. If it's blue, every time I strike, that builds up my bar for the blue, and that means the more I use it, the more it levels up. So I can strictly just focus on electricity for this person, or hey, I can level up green for a little bit and get the health that I want, then switch to red. Learn fire, learn electricity, learn a little bit of everything, or I got a person just focus straight on that, and I like that a lot. And then the main thing people talk about, which I can't wait till we talk about this game when we go back, because I do want to do this for the role base, is the ship battles. And the ship battles can be a little too long for their own good, now that I think about it, but it was cool at the time because it was a turn-based while you're ship battling. You're moving around in the sky, shooting these cannons, and you have to build up your lineup, and then the battle just goes. And so you have to strategize how you want to do this battle on the ships, and it's pretty cool because they got these cutscenes and they're shooting cannons at each other. I thought it was pretty cool at the time for it. But no, I think turn-based is always going to be my favorite. It's just what can you do to spin it and make it stand out for your own. So I am more for the turn-based for me. Brian, what about you?
I liked the active battle from Final Fantasy X-2. Hated the game. The game was stupid, but I liked the active battle. The active battles in 7, 8, and 9, it went, you waited for your bar to fill up. As soon as it filled up, you can attack. Mm-hmm. As soon as you or the enemy attack, everything else stops. So if your bar fills up and you were just a split second too late, your character had one hit point and the enemy go to attack, that's it. Now in 10.2, they actually changed it. It's as soon as your bar fills up, you just go, and the enemy can go whenever, and they can go and meet each other. So I remember this vividly. I had Yuna. She was a barbarian or something, the beast form or whatever, and the enemy was going to attack Pain because she had one hit point. It was going to attack Pain, and I can see it start. Right at that time, I want to say Yuna got her deal, and I sent her after him. He was running towards her, and Riku was in the way, so he ran around Riku. By the time he got to Riku, Yuna hit him and killed him before he got to Pain.
It kind of reminded me of the cancel activate fight in Grandia, where there's this grid, and if you hit this enemy, they go back further. Whoever gets to that finish line first gets to attacking it. Or Child Light. Child Light is based off of Grandia's battle system.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Or you can go use the God of Slow.
What I really like about that battle system, though, with the active one, even though I like the fact it kind of brings the more realism of like, hey, weirdly enough, if this guy gets to get there first, he gets to attack you first. At least you're not active. You're not sitting there forever. What I like about it is you can manipulate it. And that's where it's fun, because you can strategize. It's like, I can stop your meter from going, and I can keep attacking you for a time limit. Or slow down your meter.
Whoa.
So it can slow down. Or haste.
The Battle Chasers kind of does that a little bit.
Well, yeah, but the active just filling up the bar. If you haste, it fills up quicker. You get attacked faster.
Yeah. And I think Child Light is a good one.
Yeah, but for
that.
I guess for
it manipulates it pretty well.
But for Final Fantasy, the one you're talking about in that definition of, you're seeing the bar fill up from the side,
I don't know.
Seeing that manipulated is pretty
know
cool.
what you would call that, because like I said,
they call it active. That's active turn based.
Yeah, but it's different though, because 8 and 9, as soon as Squall goes to attack, everything else stops.
Isn't there a function? Isn't there a function you could turn it on and turn it off? I thought there was a function.
No. It's active, but you can only attack when your bar is full. And as soon as your bar is full or the enemy attacks, everything else stops. Even your bar. Because I watched Squall's bar go up, but the enemy started attacking.
Oh, okay.
His bar stopped.
Okay.
Now, in this game, nothing ever stops. Your bar goes up, you go to attack, they can still attack you while they're attacking.
Then Chrono Trigger does that too, right, Jaron? Doesn't Chrono Trigger, isn't it just keeps going no matter what?
I call it active.
Okay.
Versus active turn.
Yes-ish. Like, your bar can fill up and everything's still going until you select an action, and then maybe your action takes priority.
Okay, so that's still different. That's still active turn to me.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you push attack, everything else stops.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that.
They introduced active time battle in Final Fantasy IV, so
yeah.
I'm not surprised they put it in Chrono Trigger as well.
Yeah, but in 10-2, it was... Because I watched
everything was going.
It goes. Like, I did a magic spell or whatever, and you can see it. It'll tell you, it was like, Blizzaga. As she was getting ready to do Blizzaga, the other one does, Skull or something, and it does a lot of damage. While my Blizzaga hasn't even come out yet, so it's active. It is always going, no matter what. Now, those I like, but I think my favorite is same as you, but it's active. Okay, it's hard to explain, but mine is like yours, but they're active as well. It's have you played Legend of Dragoon?
It's on our list. We need to try. But
have you played Shadow Hearts?
No, that's rare. See,
your
Xenoblade, your Xenosaga 3 is to Shadow Hearts to me.
Okay,
Shadow Hearts. I get what you're saying when you talk about Shadow Hearts.
Have you played Legend of Legaia?
No.
So these are.
I watch you play those games, Brian. So I know what you're talking about.
But these are turn based, but they have conditions into it. You don't just push attack and it goes attack. You have to still do stuff. On Shadow Hearts, when you go to attack, you have this little.
That's their gimmick,
right? The disc thing. So you have to still be there, making sure you do right. And then I want to say Legend of Dragoon is the most
quick time.
Active.
Yeah,
you
quick time
have to
event.
press it in a
sequence.
Yeah. So every time you do an attack, there's this little bar that comes down, and if you press it right, then you can continue to attack. If you screw it up, you only do one hit.
So
and
it
less
seems
damage.
like you like turn-based. That you still get your hands a little dirty while you're doing it.
Yeah.
I choose this.
It's not like I'm eating a hamburger one hand, just pressing X over here, killing them. I got to be into it.
It's almost like Paper Mario, where like you go out for attack, but if you press it the right time, you get more points. You get more points.
And the Mario Super Soccer too. When you jump on the head, if you press it at the right time, they do another. They do a backflip hit. Yes, it's
same thing in Legend of Seven Stars, Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, you get a punch and then he does another punch and he puts his hand up like that.
Yeah.
So I guess turn active because I like active. I like turn. So let's just put them together.
Yeah,
bam.
No,
that's where
I do like those. I do like that. At least it kind of, instead of like just sitting there watching this whole battle breaks out, at least you get the chance to kind of like, I could do a little extra to help out this battle, and it can be a little bit quicker, and that's kind of cool.
And the ring system in Shadow Hearts is like that because you have a little area that you hit, and then at the bottom is this red part. If you do the red part, you do more damage with it. And you can also turn it to where your ring will allow you to hit one. Even if you miss, you have to keep going. But if you miss, it won't keep going and you won't attack at all. But if you do that one, you do more damage.
One is very interesting is the Xenoblade Chronicle game where you're also taking turns where the grid fills up. But you get to choose what move you want to do on somebody. And they tell you if you do it from this angle or this angle, you get more damage. Like if you do this move from the back, you can cancel this person out just in time, or you do it on the side, you get more points like that. So you're still putting yourself in there instead of just him just slashing. It depends how you angle it and what super moves you do with that. And I really like that too.
Well, see, that's another thing. You kind of how you said that you like when people are kind of moving the battle. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
that's why I love 12.
Yeah. Okay. So you know how it is when you playing, 7, 8, 9. And Squall runs out, he hits him, and he jumps right back into his position. Okay, so in Shadow Hearts, you move all over the place. You punch, and the enemy stays right in front of you, and you stay right there. And if you got two characters who are together, you can do a combo attack. But only as they're fighting and they're getting into position, though. So they're not in position when they start, but, I mean, you start the battle, everybody's over here. By the time you end it, you got one person over here, one person over there, one person way over here, because it depends on where you end up, whatever you're doing. And I think that's cool too. But
and then my last one, and I'll let Jaron get his piece in. I do like the persona. I like the fact that you are surrounding this character and you have to do it in sequence. And if you guys do it right, you can get a double team, you can get a triple team. I love that sequence of that too. So, Jaron, what's your battle system?
Well, I like damn near all of them, but
of course,
as far as favorite, it's going to have to be the strategy. The strategy.
Of course, that's why you're here.
And Fire Emblem, because if you set your character, if you set your board, it's like a chess match. If you set everything just right, the enemy doesn't even get a chance. XCOM 2. Where you have to work on ambushes. You're basically a team of guerrillas. If you set everything else right, if you pick the right people, put them in the right spots, line up correct shots, the enemy doesn't even get a chance to fire. They are just, bam, kill box, wiped out. And I love that because it makes every encounter different. And if you're not on top of your game, everything just goes tits up and you lose somebody. So I will always be partial to that type of strategy.
So
I can agree with that because, like you said, if you set it up right, then you could potentially win without taking any damage at all, or you can get screwed over. While other typical RPGs, you can just brute force your way. Say you're a certain level, you just brute force it. He ain't gonna hit me hard enough. I ain't gonna do nothing. But this game, if you ain't setting everything up right, you ain't winning. Period.
Yeah.
Versus, I'm level 50,000 and he can't hurt me anyway.
And
so it gets you a little more invested.
And I'll be honest with you. Back in the day, I didn't get strategies or tactical games. I damn near hated them. And then I slowly started getting into it because I understand the whole rock paper scissor kind of system, like Fire Emblem. Axe beats sword or whatever, and Advanced Wars. I like Advanced Wars a lot. I love that certain weapons beat this other one, so you have to strategize like this enemy has to fight this enemy because this will be easier, or I can upgrade if I have this place protected. And in XCOM, I like XCOM a lot. I finally started Enemy Within, and I was like, I'm late to the party, but man, after playing Mario and Rabbids, I'm like, I get XCOM now, and so I love it.
I don't know which one I played, but it didn't explain things well to me, and I ain't played it since. I was fighting some alien, and it mind controlled me, and then it took over my enemy, or my guy, and then I pretty much just lost 3 turns because of it. I was like, you never explained this to me, and I turned it off and ain't played it since.
My man, I'm sorry.
It just didn't explain it to me right, or I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to do something else.
But I always and I can't wait for Metal Slug. I'm excited for that. But I also like it where you get a better advantage if you're on top of a building striking down. You get more points because of that. If you're behind something, you get more defense. It's really cool idea how they do it.
Station and someone's taking cover behind the gas pump, you're like, oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah, and blow it up. Yeah.
I guess I like those types of games, but I'm more real time on those, I guess, because I like StarCraft type games.
The best one to play, and I need to. You said you have no one to play it, but I'll play it with you. Divinity is a great one because you have 4-player tactical kind of game.
I've never played a 2-player game like that either.
Yeah, and it's 4 players all have to work together.
But I have that on Xbox, so.
Oh, you have Divinity on the Xbox? What, 1 and 2?
Just 1.
I think it's crossplay. Is it crossplay? No, it's not crossplay, is it?
I doubt it.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it is. Sony does not do crossplay.
No, but it's on PC. It's on PCs. That's why I thought Xbox Xbox would play together.
I don't have live either, so.
Oh, okay.
I get every system, but PlayStation's my primary. So.
Well, still though, Divinity I think is a great game to bring people into because at least you're not alone in this goofy, difficult, challenging game. Because Divinity is tough.
I don't know. I try to get 2 on PlayStation or something.
They sometimes don't sell.
I heard it's really good. So
yeah, my buddy, I will play it with you again. I'll play it again. I beat that game twice.
I'm
trying to get you.
I was playing Divinity 2, and I got to a part where I'm still on that same freaking prison island, but
it's a long game.
The area, it's some of the areas I think I advanced too far or too fast because I am getting blown out by some enemies. Like my characters are getting killed in simple encounters, and I'm like, this isn't fun.
That sounds like Paladin's Quest when I wanted 2 inches to the north.
Yeah.
And everything started one-shotting me. Like, what happened? I'm just fighting a regular dude.
Yeah, it's like I can't go and grind for levels. It's just so I gave that game a break. It's like I'm taking a step back because this game's pissing me off now.
The only downfall with strategy games and tactical games, and it's not a huge downfall, but for me, is the time consuming, because I think tactical games last a little bit too longer than a normal battle system.
Every battle lasts a bit longer.
Yeah, so it's an investment every time I go in it. But like, and nothing's worse than losing, because like, well, there goes an hour. There goes 45 minutes.
Well, you're playing some really tough battles. You're taking an hour, Jesus.
Well, no, it depends who's on the field. It depends how big the battle. When you first begin, they're small, but sooner or later they're going to get big. More people are going to have HP. People are going to move around. You know how tough it is to chase somebody on. What'd you say?
On the computer, you can save scum. Saves you a lot of time.
Thank you. But chasing down somebody that moves a block ahead, and you got to move a block because you're not in range to hit them, and all this stuff. It takes time, man. You know how it is.
Computers are too expensive for me.
So, but yeah, I understand strategy games now, and I think now is a good time for me because younger me couldn't do it because like I don't have time for this. No, my attention span is no. I like my 1, 2, and 3 against 1, 2, and 3. Let's do this. You know.
So like what was it, Grandia and stuff? It was like 1 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
Yeah.
Times
and
2,
when it comes,
another one shows up later.
And when it comes to party, 4 is my favorite. I like 4 to a party. I don't like 3. I like 4.
4 or 5. Like Lunar sticks out in my mind because of
Lunar
5.
is insane.
I like 4
but
too.
Here's the thing.
I'll give you that.
Suikoden 6.
Yes.
Suikoden had a lot because I remember watching either you or Ron somebody play it, and I was like,
me.
how many freaking people in the party?
It was 3. It was 3.
Yeah,
that's too many turns. It takes too long. 4 is like the golden number for me.
I think 4 is a good number.
I like 6 because it's like, okay, these 2 are going to do a combo attack, and then these 3 are going to do a combo attack.
Look. With 6 people in a party, everybody should be able to do everything. I should have my healer, my action person, my magic, 2 magic people. Like, there should be no excuse of like anybody. And that's how you know a whole party's with you. But 4, I still like 4.
I think Shadowhearts had 4.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I liked Lunar and things with 4 or more people. Because, like, you know, if we're going to a party to save the world, I'm going to recruit more than just, like, 2 people or 3 people.
Yeah, really.
Like, I'm like, hey, you look strong. You're coming with me.
And just you. You sit down. You and you. That's it. Let's go. I mean,
so before we
stronger in the next town, I'll let you go. But otherwise, come on.
So before we wrap this up, because after the show, definitely go check on Jaron's streaming. I want to talk about some honorable mentions of battle systems that are just so interesting. And let's talk about Lunar, because Lunar is so challenging to describe what that battle system is, because it's a block system that you don't see, that your characters move on their own, but they can move around too, and it's just everybody's in places, and you don't know who goes first, who goes second. It's such an odd battle system.
Right about here, you need to cut the video out and put in what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so people can see. Keep the audio.
Yeah,
but put in what you're talking about.
It's such an audio. It's such a weird one, but I like it still because, like, number one, it's tough. Lunar is a tough RPG game because when they hit you hard. You have to come prepared for each battle, and that's why they give you 6 people, because most of them are going to knock you down. And what's worse than that? In most RPG games, they know who to get first. Like, we know who the weakest person in your group is. We're all going to surround him first.
I would say, that's every RPG.
No, some RPG games don't do that, but this one here,
they pretend that they don't do that until they get low health, and then just SWAT got him.
This one here, though,
you always go for the healer first.
Exactly. Yeah. And as soon as they get to where they can get one shot, it's going to happen. All 3 or 4 is going for just him. And you can see it. Be like, you ain't hit him the last 5 times in a row. What about me? I'm sitting here waiting to get it.
Yep.
I got my armor up.
Yep.
The enemy's turn comes up and like 4 of them go straight past your character.
And
you go for the healer.
And you just put the protection spell up, and they ain't even hitting you no more.
But the craziest one is Lunar 2, when you have a character that just decides how she wants to deal with the battle.
Yeah.
You have a character, she's in the corner, if she wants to heal you, she'll heal you. She wants to scream out loud and do a big blast, she will. But you cannot control her. And she's part of your party.
No.
She's not a 4 plus a bonus.
She becomes more helpful the longer she's with you.
She is. That's true. But in the first one, she's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, she's like, she flees.
Yeah, she runs. That's what upsets me. She's like, this ain't my jam. I'm out.
Yeah. If the enemy gets to her and hits her, she'll hit back. But she doesn't actively help you.
So they're gonna throw a person in your party you can't control, but you got to build up your repertoire with.
It's dumb, but it's fun. It's dumb, but funny at the same time. Because
watch her flee.
Yeah, it's funny because you don't see it coming. It's so funny.
That's wow.
Yeah, and
that's a challenge, ain't it?
And then the last one for me, I would say, is Last Story that you can see over there, Brian, on my shelf. Last Story is a little bit different because it's an RPG with the Gears of War style. And
Gears of War?
Yeah, Gears of War style. Yeah, so you're hiding, you have your weapon, but you're hiding behind stuff, and you go around, you strike at the right time.
Like rabbits? Mario Rabbits?
No, it plays like a Gears of War. It's over the shoulder, and you have a sword, and you have your party.
Valkyria Chronicles.
No, like Gears of War.
But is it an RPG or is it a Gears of War?
It is RPG. It's an active RPG. No, it's action. No, it's an action RPG because you can slash whenever you want to slash and everything. You still level up. You have an RPG system. You have your partners and you can still do combos together and everything. It's just the gameplay is you run up behind stuff and you wait for the right time. You can jump over stuff and strike. I can show you gameplay after. But yeah, it was a unique way because we haven't seen that, and that's from the same people that did Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, Mistwalker, and that was an interesting RPG for me. So, anybody else have any honor mentions of RPGs that were just a little different and stand out to you?
Shadow Hearts.
Shadow Hearts,
we
okay.
already talked about that.
Well, with the grid and everything.
And then the Legend of Legaia one was it was like you had an up, down thing, and you get like a certain amount of times you can do it. Like you start out with like 4, and certain combinations will give you certain skills. So if you just press up 4 times, the guy goes up and he just hits like up, or he hits to the side. But if you push up, down, left will turn into like a super combo. So he hits twice, and then the last hit he will do the slow combo, and then you can put them together. And by the end of the game, you have 14 slots. So if they're a 3 combo or 6 or 8 or all that stuff, you know, you can. If they're a 3 combo win and you got 14 slots, I mean, count 3 times 12. You got like 8-9 times you can do it.
Is it a risk reward? Like,
no.
Okay.
But you can figure out some combos just by, you know, randomly pushing stuff in. So you're probably not even supposed to have this move until later on in the game, but you accidentally was pressing up and down or whatever because you was drinking all the coffee. And now you got 3 new moves you didn't just have because you was doing some crazy stuff. And it's different.
Okay.
And I mean, I liked it. I liked it enough to beat the game. So, and I even went and found the first one because I played the second one first, and then I went back and found the first one, and it plays pretty much identical. Mm-hmm. But it's just one of those games that people probably don't know about, and it had a different way of playing.
I remember I was watching one time, and I remember one time you were getting so frustrated because it's like, why am I not hitting as hard than I was a minute ago? I don't get it. And you equipped a turtle amulet.
Okay, so
better armor, but you hit less.
There was an item that I found that. You know how you look at items. You look at it, and it's blue, it goes up, or green, it goes up, and red, it goes down. So I seen that my defense went up by like 40. I was like, yeah. I did not read the footnotes down here. So I went, after I put it on, I'm like, I'm super, I could take some hits now because everything was killing me in there anyway. But I was hitting like half. Come to find out, the little footnote said, yeah, you get great defense, but you only do half of the damage.
Yeah.
And I was pissed off for a good hour before I realized that.
It was so funny because I remember he was staying at my place when we were young, and he was just getting frustrated this game.
Why am I not hitting so hard? Mm-hmm. And yeah, an hour later I realized it. I was like, I'm taking this crap off. It ain't working.
Jaron, any honorable mentions?
Oh, man, nothing that comes to mind because I already mentioned my favorite games. I mentioned my XCOMs, my Lunars, my Suikoden's.
I have 2 more, and then we're going to bounce out. Xenosaga. Xenosaga was interesting because it was button choices of how you do your combo, and they elevate depending on what route you went on the pressing buttons.
The first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite one before they changed it up later and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite because you gotta, I don't know if you got the layer out the way you want, but basically was like if you had to choose between a button move between square, triangle, X, whatever you press, then that takes you to the path of these particular moves. Then it takes you to the path of this particular move. And it was kind of cool because you can mix and match and see which one was the best route to do certain moves for certain characters. And I really like that.
But they also had like an AP system in this, and you started out with 4 points. And I want to say every round you got 4 points. So But you had 6 points that you can hold at any time. Now, some moves cost all 6 points.
Yeah.
So if you guard it, it only took 2. So you had 4 left. So the next time you come up, you automatically had 6. Now, I know Cosmos had this move called X-Buster. Yeah. And she shot every enemy. And you had to have 6 for that. So you had to guard one turn, and then the next turn you could do the strong move. Then the next turn you had to guard again, and then you could do the strong move. It was an interesting system.
What I loved about it, though, every move you did, it just felt like you were just kicking ass. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, like, is it Sheena? Is it whoever? Xion. Like, she had that giant thing. When you press the first button, she goes over, hits. Then she sits there and charge it up on the next button you press, and then she bit back and blow up. That was so cool. And same thing with Junior. Like, you know, he does gun tricks,
all the shots and stuff.
Yeah, it just felt like every time you went on to do your moves, you just felt like you were awesome in that moment. You had a spotlight every single time.
Yeah, but all their moves.
Kind of want to play Xenosaga again.
Oh, you should definitely do that if you can.
Yeah,
the first one.
Yeah,
and then the third one. Don't play the second one.
No.
But he had a move called Storm Waltz. I'll never forget this. And he threw up a bunch of pennies and he just shot them.
Yeah.
And they hit everybody on the
screen. Ricochets.
I freaking love that one.
Yeah, and I love is it Chaos?
Chaos.
Yeah.
With
I love with the wind powers and everything like that. And he did all these like interesting orb moves. That game was just so unique.
And then he had a big ice move that hit everybody. Like he'd make a big ice ball and he'd get up and punch it and then just hit everything.
Yeah, because most RPG, when you pick a move, they just go up, do that one move, and then back off. But here, it felt like you were doing combos on these people.
You hit them once, and then you hit them again, and if you got to 6, then you do whatever big move.
Yeah, that was so cool. And then, of course, when they went to the mechs, it kind of got a little kind of disappointing because you didn't really get to do really cool moves with the mech. It was kind of like one-shot moves. But man, that's such a
the mech got way better.
Yeah, dude, it was such a unique battle system, and it was so simple too. It was easy to learn, easy to do. The hard part was just the strategy because certain bosses were just tough to beat and they took too long. And of course, some of those bosses you didn't know, like certain bosses you had to heal to kill them. That was an RPG I just never knew healing could kill somebody. That was weird, man.
Or the first encounter, you're not even supposed to beat them.
I hate those.
I blew much time on that.
They should really just turn those into cutscenes. I can't stand battles you're not supposed to win.
And the same company, this is why I like Monolith Soft. They're doing all the Xenos because Bat and Kato's is unique with the card system where you're attacking based on the cards that you pick and you're picking your deck and everything. And now we've seen that evolve a lot. I'm not saying they're the first one that did it. That was my first experience with card battles because now you see card battles with everything. Slay the Spire. All of these games are doing card-based RPG games. So I thought that was pretty unique in its own way. So is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap this episode up?
No, I'm good. I've said everything I had to say.
Okay, I guess it's time to disband this party. And I want to thank everybody for listening to this particular episode. Of course, Brian, thank you so much for making the time to come on the show and whatnot.
It was nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys will duke it out one time in Tekken.
Eventually.
Yeah. And so, but as you know, this is part of the In-Game Boss program, network game, and other variety shows. Please enjoy all our great content on the YouTube because this is the only place you'll be able to find this stuff. And spread the word about the show. And if you're a fan, please subscribe. We would love to have you enjoy all our great content. Leave a comment down below. What's your favorite RPG? What's your favorite battle system? Tell us all your fun facts. And remember, we do a show together called the Role Based Podcast. Please enjoy some of the great talks and conversation that we have because it is such a fun journey because we are learning as we're playing this game. It is fun to learn.
Are we ever?
Yes. Shout out to DC for listening to the Paladin Quest because he said he remembers it and he thought it was hilarious because it's fun. I think it's fun when people listen to it and they're like, either they agree or disagree with us. They had that experience like, oh my gosh, I remember that part. Paladin Quest, another one for y'all. Interesting battle system. You sacrifice your HP to do magic. Sit on that for a minute.
No. There is no MP. There is no MP.
Oh yeah, that's right. No MP.
You sacrifice your HP.
Yeah, you sacrifice your hit points to kill. It hurts me, then it hurts you.
Yeah. So you're losing health every round.
Right.
Instead of just, when they hit you. You lose health when you hit them or they hit you. You're just losing health. It's a lose-lose almost.
Yeah. And as you know, we are going to be trying to do this is a bi-weekly show, so we'll be doing live almost every episode. And if you miss it, please go to our YouTube video where we have it edited and polished and some of the video like Titus's laugh and Sura's smile thing that we just mentioned.
Look out for that.
Yeah. But this ain't over. Brian will be back for our next one where we're going to do a celebration to Blue Blur celebrating his 30th anniversary. We're a little late, but we love him so much, and we need to talk about him. So we'll see you next time. Stage clear. Let's go.
New high score.
You got anything you wanna do? A shout out?
No.
No.
The blue blur's coming.